The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Experts show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Tampa. Welcome to the Ask the Expert show. We bring you experts in the Tampa, St. Pete area in the areas of health, legal, financial, and especially home improvement. We had received so many emails from you asking us to add a show on air conditioning and heating. And even in our other markets, it's a very popular show. And we're so lucky we got one of the top companies in the Tampa area. And we know it's because we've actually worked with them before. And I'm so excited today that this is our first show with them. And you're going to learn all about air conditioning and heating. And we've gotten a lot of your questions already. Let's get started with our first expert, the president of Heat Wave Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Dan Billingsley. Good morning, Dan.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
Boy, this is going to be fun. We have worked together in the past. It wasn't on TV like we are now. And I've just got so many questions. But before we get started, tell us about your company.
Well, my company is Heat Wave Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. We're based out of Pinellas Park. We cover the entire Tampa Bay market on both sides of the bay, top and bottom and left and right. We do full service air conditioning and plumbing.
Well, what inspired you to go in the air conditioning business?
Well, I've been doing air conditioning since I was 18 years old. My dad was a plumbing and heating guy. My grandpa was a plumbing and heating guy. So it was just kind of a natural fit to kind of just fell into it, you know. So I've been doing it for 24 years now.
Well, you know, I was telling you before the show, we probably got about 7 or 8 texts from viewers that they all had the same question. Some of them were actually becoming a problem with their wives. It's such a simple question is what size filter do I use with my air? No, I'm sorry. You know what? I said it wrong. It's how often do I need to change my filter?
That's a good question. And there's not a rock solid answer for it, even though, you know, a lot of stuff is advertised. I mean, depending on the type of filter you're using, it could be monthly to 3 months to 6 months to 12 months. So the type of filter you're using matters, how thick it is, how much stuff it picks up, and then also, you know, how dirty the house is or the ductwork or whatever with the air, the dirt coming into the system. You know, I mean, I've seen houses that the filter doesn't have a speck of dirt on it in 6 months, and some need to change it every 2 weeks.
Wow.
You know, I mean,
that's a big difference.
If you're living by somewhere where there's a lot of, I don't know, maybe fumes from, you know, say semi trucks going by, that stuff infiltrates in your house and your air conditioner filter is picking that up, which is a good thing. But I mean, everybody's situation is a little bit different. But typically, I mean, I said there's 4 different kinds of filters that are rated for like 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. So it just really depends on what you have and how well you're maintaining your system.
Does if there is a smoker in the house, does that make a difference with the filter?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that stuff.
You know,
right
it's we have got so many homeowners, and Boy, it seems like spring and summer are almost here already. We just got someone who asked, do you have a service agreement, I guess, where you come in every 2 or 3 times a year to service their air conditioning?
Yeah, we call it our Comfort Club. So what that is you get 2 AC tune-ups a year every 6 months. So it doesn't matter what time of the year you enroll, you get your tune-up every 6 months. Just like you're supposed to take care of your air conditioner like clockwork every 6 months. It's kind of like just going to the dentist. You go and get your teeth cleaned every 6 months, or at least you should. You should get your air conditioner cleaned every 6 months, because here they run year round.
That's
right. I mean, in the wintertime, they might not run as much, but it's still operating. All the turning on, turning off, filters getting dirty, the system's getting dirty, and just the wear and tear. I mean, you wouldn't go drive your car for 6 months without getting the oil changed every day, right? You wouldn't drive it every day. So it's the same thing. I mean, the systems need to be maintained and need to be checked out. And the whole point of preventive maintenance is to prevent something from breaking down, and it always breaks on the worst time of day, the worst time of year. So
we just got a text from Bob. He said it's about time you brought in an air conditioning expert. But his question is, see if I can understand. Bob, please write us back. I don't even understand your question. We have so many homeowners, Dan, that watch and listen to the show. What are some of the common mistakes homeowners make when it comes to air conditioning maintenance? And how can they avoid some of these mistakes?
Well, the first one is lack of maintenance. Like we just discussed, I mean, maintenance is critical. Keep the system running at peak performance. Keep your electric bills down, and prevent unnecessary breakdowns. People that try and clean them themselves, that's okay if you know what you're doing. You do run the risk of, electrical shock, or next thing you know, you short something out, and then that costs more money because you got to have somebody come out and fix it.
Right. Well, okay, Bob just wrote back. His question is, how come when you turn the heat on, it smells like something's burning?
So your coil and your heating element in your air conditioner sits for almost 10 months of the year, collects dirt, dust, all kinds of, sometimes little microbial growth on there. And then when it turns on, I mean, that stuff burns off first. So that first initial burn with that stuff burning off, that's what you're smelling. Some houses, it makes it a little smoky, it clears out, but that's what's happening.
Okay. What is the difference between central air conditioning and ductless, the mini split systems?
So central air conditioning has ductwork that goes throughout your house, bringing airflow to every bedroom, every living room, kitchens, etc. Typically the vents are in the ceiling here, versus mini splits. Typically just they'll be mounted on the wall with an outdoor unit attached to it, and they'll just cool one space. So like one room, one general area, one bedroom, that's kind of the difference. Central air conditioning is going to be a lot more even out throughout your home. That's more what you see in our market.
I had a house that I had bought, and it seemed like it's about 3,200 square feet, and it seemed like part of the house was always cool and the other part wasn't. And we brought in a local air conditioning company. Come to find out, the unit was too small for the house. Do you run into that a lot?
Yeah, sometimes. And a lot of times what has to do with it, and it's very missed, is the ductwork. So like your ductwork in your attic. Your ductwork in your attic has to be sized for your air conditioning system. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what size air conditioning system you put in. And one thing we find around here more often than not is the ductwork is undersized. So you're only gonna get as much cooling out of that ductwork as the ductwork is gonna allow. So it doesn't matter how big of an air conditioner you put on it. If the ductwork's undersized, that's all you're gonna get out of it. And that's what we find. I mean, we find it all the time here.
Well, you hear about all these energy efficient, upgrades and features all the time. Um, what should homeowners can they consider when installing or upgrading their air conditioning system? What should they look for?
Energy efficiency, anything that you're going to replace your air conditioner with today is going to be probably 20 to 30% more efficient than you currently have in your system over 10 years old. But the biggest factor that plays into all of it is airflow. If your airflow isn't correct or your ductwork isn't correctly sized for the new system, that new system doesn't matter. You're going to have the same problems as you did with your old system. Rooms are going to be hard to heat and cool. And today's systems use more volume of air than your systems that are 12 and 15 years old or older. So what happens is a lot of times that old ductwork is now undersized for the new systems. And then that creates effect with, you're not getting airflow to the back bedroom, or the new systems. What happens is they're so much stronger. It brings out any inefficiency you've had with your ductwork that the old system didn't show. We'll find ductwork popped, holes in it. It just doesn't, that ductwork sits in your attic here and bakes year round like an oven. And if your ductwork's older than 15 years and it's not metal, that stuff it's like a plastic liner. Today, it's more of a Mylar liner. That old plastic liner will just get brittle, break, and then as soon as you put that new air conditioning system on it and all that force of air through there, all them cracks, that stuff just falls apart and creates more problems than what you had to start with.
I went into Home Depot to buy a filter, and I never realized there are so many different types of filters. One is basically good for a month, 6 months. What is the best filter to buy?
Well, thicker is not always better, because if your system's already kind of starving for air, that'll choke it down even more. Okay. So if you're going to buy filters from Home Depot, and them places, the thick, huge, the allergen ones that you can't see through, it feels like a towel, like it's so thick. Those are probably going to really restrict your system and cause more issues. But the best of filters is electronic filter. We have electronic filters that we install in the system, goes in your same filter slot. It hooks up to the electric in your unit, and then electrifies everything that goes through it and allows the air to pass through, and it magnetizes all the particles, so it catches it all. Literally, you'll pull these filters out in 3 months and it'll be black, and you couldn't believe all that stuff was in your air. And it will never restrict your system while it runs, no matter how dirty it gets. It's pretty amazing.
This is the first time I've ever heard there is a such thing, and you sell them.
Yeah, you can't buy them at Home Depot. You have to get them from a contractor. So
okay, while we're done, because someone just said, give everybody your phone number. We have a lot of people who are listening on radio. They can't see that we're running on our scroll on our TV portion. Give everybody your phone number, Dan.
Our main office number is 727-777-6229, and our website is www.heatwaveflorida.com. heatwaveflorida.com.
Can you, Dan, discuss the role of zoning systems in air conditioning, and how can they help homeowners save money and improve comfort?
Zoning systems have their place, and a lot of times what happens is if you got like a 2-story house, that's mostly where you see them, where you have like a zone for the first floor and second floor. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes there's issues with them. When the parts go out and the boards go out, they are very expensive. A properly designed duct system and probably designed air conditioning system will eliminate a lot of zoning needs and keep your house at more even temperature. But zoning has a small place for certain instances, but it's not as common as you might think.
We got another text from a listener. They want to know, if you leave town for a few days, what's a good setting on the thermometer?
Well, everybody's house is a little bit different. When we leave, I leave ours at 78, because I don't want it to get hot in the house, and I don't want the humidity to build up. I wanted the system to keep running and keep pulling the humidity out while we're gone. But there's no reason to keep it ice cold while we're gone either. But you got to, the air conditioner's first job here is to withdraw humidity. Your house gets over 60%, you start getting mold issues and all kinds of stuff. So we leave ours at 78. Some people leave them at 80, but I wouldn't leave them more than 80 personally.
Okay. Dan, tell people, I like to ask this question. I think it's an important question. There's a lot of people. I love the idea that you've been doing this for such a long period of time, and you've made it through the hard times, especially after COVID. And people, I've been around for a long time. People used to select who their air conditioning company by who had the full page ad and yellow pages. Well, we don't really use yellow pages anymore. So now people go, well, they had a nice looking website. Folks, the reason why we have Dan here is that you don't have to pick out who's got the best website or who had the best ad. Dan takes time out of his day he's educating you. This is not an info commercial. We do this so you don't have you read about all the time people getting ripped off. They're told they need a new air conditioning when come to find out they really didn't. So I'm so glad that we have you as our expert here on the show. Dan, tell people what they should look for when their air conditioner is starting to go out.
High electric bills. If your electric bill seems like it's higher than it normally is, weird smells, noises. It seems like it runs a lot longer than it used to. Like maybe it doesn't maintain the house properly. Maybe you feel like the humidity in your house is higher than normal. Those are some pretty good telltale signs.
And that way people know that there probably is a problem. And you've heard the stories. Before, I'm sure you've gone out to people that have been ripped off before. But that's what I love having your company. You can trust Dan's company. He's going to do what he tells you he's going to do. And if he says you need a new air conditioning, you can count on it. Dan, how can homeowners improve their indoor air quality through their air conditioning system? Are there any new technologies out there?
Yeah, first thing is maintaining your system and keeping it clean. Then, we have several different UV systems, different types, depending on what is needed. We're not gonna try and oversell somebody or sell somebody something they don't need. But there's different types. We got some that'll give you hospital grade air, right? We have electronic filters. We have different UV lights, different stuff. Depends on the situation. Not every situation is a little bit different. So really, that's what it kind of boils down to is the right fit and the right need.
I know you're probably always looking for new technicians. What advice would you give to someone who is considering a career in air conditioning?
Well, mechanical aptitude is huge, and communication skills. We deal with customers day in and day out, right? So being able to talk to a customer and have a conversation with a customer is critical. Being able to look somebody in the eyes and talk to them, and knowing a little bit of mechanical aptitude, and we teach you. We bring in we do 1 to 2 at a time, guys from scratch. We bring them in. We have a training program. We have a whole training lab and training room built. So, just like when I started when I was 18, somebody taught me. Actually, I had several different teachers, but that's the only way to get people into the trade is to bring people in. Like you have to bring new people in, and you have to teach them the trade. That's just like any career. Somebody has to teach it. Nobody was born an air conditioning guy.
Right.
Nobody was born a radio host. Right.
Right.
It's a skill set that's built up and taught.
Well, I'm going to ask you probably, we've got about 4 minutes left. I'm going to ask you, and don't be afraid. Just tell people, why should I hire your company?
Well, why should you hire us? I've been doing air conditioning since 1999. I've been in business since 2009. We have served thousands of customers, and done thousands of installs, thousands of service calls. I take great pride in, building guys up and the trade, guys and gals, teaching the trade, just like I was taught. I have a very, third generation doing this. Every job has my name on it, no matter what, at the end of the day. So, I'm very critical of who I hire. All our guys drug tested and background checked, so that's just a start. And then, we don't tolerate really the poor workmanship, like we want, quality craftsmanship on every job. We stand behind our work. We can call us 7 days a week. If somebody live answers the phone 7 days a week. Our office, you can come into our office if you wanted to. It's right on 49th Street in Pinellas Park. Can't miss it. Big old bright orange trucks all out front. So, that's just a couple of reasons why you should call us.
And you got to, you can tell customer service is very, very important to your company.
Very important. It all starts with the phones. Nobody calls us because they want to, right? In reality, we're the call that you don't want to make. So all our call center people are used to that, right? So the customers call us in distress, right? Their air conditioner's broke, it's hot, plumbing's broke, water's leaking all over, they're panicking. We do a lot of training in our call center just for customer service on how to handle those situations. Sometimes we have to calm people down because they're panicking, they don't, air conditioner's broke. Some people feel like their house is burning down. It's hot in there, it all starts with the phones, getting them on the schedule, and then getting our trained tech to their house in a sufficient amount of time, diagnose the problem in a sufficient amount of time, and come up with solutions for the customer that'll meet their budget and their needs to get them back up and running.
Just got a quick question from Cindy. Great show. Do you have an do you offer emergency service?
Yep, we're open 7 days a week.
Okay. It's a female show. They want to make sure that if their air conditioning breaks down in the middle of the night, that there's somebody to call. But Dan, I am so excited. This is our first show. Dan will be back with us again next month. For the people who are listening on radio, give out your phone number again.
It's 727-777-6229.
Great. And we'll see you next month. Dan, I'm so glad we have you. We're going to go to break right now. When we come back, we have our storm windows and doors show. Thanks, Dan.
Appreciate you having me, Steve. See ya.
We'll see you next month. And that's Dan Billingsley. He's with Heat Wave Heating and Air, and just such a great company. We're going to go to our next expert now, and we're kind of keeping with the home improvement theme. We were able to find, not just in Tampa, but the top company in Florida when it comes to storm doors and windows. And we had so many people text us last time that just thanking us for bringing a show like this on. Let's go to our next expert, and he is an expert, Frank Madonia. He's the Vice President of Sales I'm telling you, Storm Smart is without a doubt, the top, when it comes to windows and doors, they are the top company in Florida. And we are so excited to have them. Hi, Frank.
Good morning. How are you doing, Steve?
I am doing wonderful. You did such a great job last month. I'm so glad that we have your company. And what some of the people said is they really appreciated the way you answered questions. You know, some people talk above your head, fast talkers. So you got a lot of compliments last time, Frank.
Well, we appreciate it. We just, we try to understand the customer's needs and just really try to help get them to resolve, because it's a big decision to help protect the home. So we want to make sure we do it the right way, and we have different alternatives to make sure it's the right fit for the right customer.
Well, the first question I like to ask is, what are some of the products that are typically available to consumers for hurricane protection in their home? And you hit on one of the things, and I'm going to let you answer that. But one of the things was the roll down screens. And I'm telling you, don't do what we do and get the manual one. Get the one that does it electronically.
Yeah, it's nice, right? We even have the Wi-Fi connection on that too, which is just amazing that you can operate it remotely. So, when you need to deploy something to protect your home, there's different applications, there's different needs. And with that said, you have the roll down screens. One of ours is the storm catcher screen, which is our most really popular one. But we have the slide screens. There's also strap and buckle type systems. We have the accordion shutters, the aluminum roll down shutters, and of course the impact windows and doors. So all that's at our arsenal. It's all under one shop to help you out. But different applications for different reasons, and people have different budgets, and that's why we have the options that we have for them.
Well, we do get about a week's notice sometimes when a hurricane is on its way. But I don't know why, when people, especially people who have families, it's got to be such a load off their back when they install storm doors and windows. It's just, I don't even know why people wait for a storm to think about it.
Look what Hurricane Ian did. There was just so many people that probably would like to have said that they did something a little bit earlier, a little bit sooner. And, believe it or not, we're now preparing for the storm season. So we're already entering that time frame. We're getting ready for that June, July time frame where the storms will start being active again. So there's no time like the present. There really isn't. There's no time like the present to at least have the free estimate, allow us to do an assessment. And that's one of the things that we offer. So very important.
Was it Ida, the one that really came late, like towards the end of November? Was that Ida?
I believe so. And it came out of nowhere.
We got everybody was saying, God, this is so late to be getting a hurricane. But you know what? It could also be so early to get a hurricane. You don't want to wait till hurricane season starts. Like you said, you should be thinking about this now.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize the damage that could be done. We're actually seeing people recording now is damages from Ian that was in October. And what happens is the water infiltration. So it's a lot of things that real people don't see. It's later on the aftermath of it, the effects of it having later on into whether it was leaked in the framing or something like that, into the windows, the jalousie windows, the leaking on the aluminum or the cracks. And then what happens is later on, then you basically have possibility of rot or damage into not only drywall, but in this frame or the structure of a home. So it's just devastating, the aftermath of that. And I just think it's just so important that if you are planning, at least have the assessment of what you think that, you want to look at doing. It's very, very important to get ahead of it. It really is.
Frank, I'm going to tell you, when we started getting letters from our viewers and listeners about storm doors and windows, and I bet you there must have been, a handful of letters from people that there's a lot of fly-by-night companies out there, Frank. You know this. And you've got to be so careful. And what we love about your company is you've been around for a long time, and you know what you're doing. You don't have to worry about being ripped off. I got to tell you, I got a lot of letters from people who put a down payment down, and the company was gone.
It's sad. We recently over here on the West Coast, we operate on all sides of Florida, but there's been a couple companies that had to file the Chapter 13, and they've gone out of business. When considering a company to replace your hurricane protection, you really want to look at the size and stability of the company. When I say is this pillars of strength, do they use their own contractors? Basically, how long they've been in business. What product offerings do they have? Are they able to do it all under one roof? And they do this service or warranty their own work. Again, we've been in business 26 years. There are other great, wonderful companies out there. Look, we'd love for you to use us. We'd love for you to just give us an opportunity. But you know what? The pillars of strengths are so important: stability, size, strength, and the reputation and the ability to get it done. And here's the thing: 3, 4, 5 years from now, are they still around? I mean, think about it as buying a car. You go to a dealer with a reputable dealership because you can get it serviced. They're going to be there. They're going to manufacture, warranty the car. And you want to have that same thing when you're buying storm protection. So, it's very important that you vet out the companies. And, we hope that we always service what we can and do what we can and do what we promise to do. But I'll tell you, there's some other companies out there that make you wonder. It just makes you wonder. So please consider the company you're looking at and make sure that you've done your homework, period.
I forgot which hurricane it was, but I was living in Highland Beach at the time, and there, if you don't leave at a certain time, the bridges go up, and you're not getting out of there. And I wanted to stay we had a lot of senior citizens. I wanted to stay to help them with ice and things, but I actually got to watch a hurricane, and I'm going to tell you something. What that did to the sliding glass door, Frank, it was arcing. I mean, I thought it was going to blow out any minute. And boy, when you see that, if you don't think about, I got to get something much stronger than that, you just don't want to wait. When you actually see a hurricane and what it could do to windows. And I did see a lot of windows that were blown out too.
Yeah, it's actually, I've seen the aftermath of what
Yes.
the window will do. And what's scary is the negative pressure that's produced on a home that people don't realize. And that's what it's really about. It's the design pressure. So really the products need to handle the right design pressure. It's not necessarily the wind speed, but it's the pressure that causes basically the breach in an opening. And when that happens, it can be devastating. It really can. And then the other thing too is what usually is damaged, but the liability of the opening and the breach of it just is tremendous. And the last thing you want to do is protect, a home or a pet or somebody in the home. So very, very, it's life-threatening. It really is. It's life-threatening. And what we do is we help, we impact the family by protecting them, protecting their lives, including their pets and their surroundings. So very, very important. Very important.
We just got Sylvia wants to know, does your company work with HOA and condo associations?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And we do. We pride ourselves on having the ability to work in a larger capacity. So our company, again, we want to handle each and every individual as important as the next person, but we have the ability to scale and maximize, if you will, the opportunity. So yes, we can look at 100, 200, 300 home communities and service them. And with our depth and breadth of our products and our service and installation, we love to work with HOAs, and we build an HOA program where we can understand the different, if you will, stacks or the different layouts and floor plans and hone in on that and do a package opportunity to the board of directors and to the community. So love to work with the HOAs. Please reach out to me directly, and I'll be glad to set that up. Absolutely.
Good. You always hear about Miami-Dade codes. How does that affect your business?
So, here's the thing. In order to make sure the customer is buying the right products, you want to make sure the designation is acceptable for the application and the area it's at. And typically, you want to make sure it's a Florida Building Code approved or Miami-Dade, which is the HVAC approval process. So Miami-Dade has the largest restrictions, if you will, on products, but everything that we do is to the Florida Building Code, and our installation is at the Miami-Dade acceptance. So very, very important we hit that HVAC and that Florida Building Code approvals. Make sure the products have that. They call it notice of acceptance, and that's where the product has been approved and tested to withstand the restrictions it will to meet that code.
What does that mean for Palm Beach and Broward? Do they not have the same codes?
Well, Miami-Dade was the one who established the most stringent code. And actually, as you go up the coast, the wind speed and the actual design pressures changed. So, and them tracking the hurricanes, if you went up, say, Melbourne or Cocoa Beach, it's not quite the same design pressures needed as down in the Keys or Miami-Dade. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So basically, a window or the opening, if you will, would have a higher design pressure on the 20th floor in Miami or the second floor in the Keys versus up in Daytona or Cocoa Beach. So it's a little bit different design pressures, and that's where that Miami-Dade certification came from.
Just curious, what kind of wind speeds do the storm windows protect, up to what?
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, that's an illusion. A lot of people talk about, 150 mile an hour, 175 an hour. And that's the thing. It's based on design pressure. All the testing's done per pounds per square inch. So it's a myth out there about, what it's supposed to, but in the testing of it, the lab testing and certifications is all designed on design pressures, but it does meet the category 5, which usually a category 5 is over the 150 mile an hour. I'll tell you right now, you get kind of wind speed like that. Even Ian didn't get to that speed, but if you do, it's just devastating. And, without any kind of protection, your home could be really not only maybe level, but you're going to breach openings. Things are going to happen that are bad. So very, very important that you get the right Florida Building Code approved products for your home.
I kind of talked about this fly-by-night companies out there. I mean, there is, and you are a gentleman enough to, you don't want to put anybody down, but we want to caution people, because, I must get 2 people a month come to my house, and I've got storm doors and windows wanting to do business. They flood the neighborhood. That's what I love about your company, because you have been around for a long time. You've put in thousands and thousands of windows and doors. How can people, what should people want to know from a company in order not to get ripped off?
Yeah, I think what's really important is exactly what you're saying, Steve, do they have the ability to service, right? Do they have a service team in-house? Do they have a warranty that they're able to represent and support? Are they relying back on the manufacturer to help do all this? So again, we have in-house service, in-house warranty. Makes it a big difference when our technicians go out. When something needs to be corrected or adjusted, it's in-house. People could wait weeks and weeks and weeks for something like that, and even months with a smaller company, because they may have to sub things out like that. So really, you want to just make sure that the company has a reputation and it's able to back their warranty. And the other thing too is some of the larger manufacturers don't necessarily, just give out that ability to buy right from a small company. So some of the smaller companies might not necessarily use the best and the highest products out there. So you really want to look at the whole picture. There's some small companies out there that do a great job. Let me tell you, they are. But really just make sure that you vet the company, vet the customers that are looking at it, and just make sure that they've got the ability to service you later on. Because once you buy it and you serve and you put it in, you want to make sure that company can be contacted later down the road if you ever need anything.
Now, you talk about warranties. How long is your warranty for?
So we have different products with different applications. Again, the manufacturer has a warranty, but we warranty our products for 1 year on service and 10 years on parts. So we have an extended warranty that we take care of our customers. We're about 99% taking care of our customers. We've got over 100,000 customers that we've seen in the 26-year lifespan. And let me tell you, we have very, very little issues out there in the field. And that's another thing, is the products that we do the service, we make sure that we're able to, take care of them, make sure that everything's operable. and service them for the life of the product.
How are deliveries now, Frank?
That's a great question. Right now with the storm season just starting to kick in, we're at 10 to 14 weeks with our screens and shutters, the aluminum products. And right now we're at 21 to 24 weeks with the custom made windows and doors. So we're still very, very competitive with that, with the size that we are, with our ability to get the throughput. But really, if you're looking at doing it, you've got a 10 to 14 week cycle with screens, shutters, and aluminum products, and about 21 to 24 weeks with windows and doors. So we need to be looking at that time frame. We're already getting into that May, June time frame for installation. Times now.
Yes.
We're picking up a lot in March and April schedule.
Now, this hurricane screens, what are some of the benefits and features of the hurricane screens?
That's a great question. A lot of people ask about the benefits of that screen. It's reliable hurricane protection with the convenience of maybe an electronic or manual operation. So it allows you to deploy it anywhere. So really the screen more of a lifestyle. So you have the ability to span a larger size opening versus a window or door. These are great for lanais and patio areas like that. They withstand the hurricane force winds, but they also give you that privacy. Keeps your lanai clear of excessive rain, dust, and debris. And it also actually prevents bugs and small animals from entering these areas when deployed. So, and then the other thing too is helps reduce direct sun by shading. Is often more of a lifestyle. So the screens are great for large openings, small openings that you don't want to prohibit with the glass, and you have that ability to be that open air aspect of it. We're having a lot of people in the restaurant business now picking up our screens because they can extend their patios for people. So they're really deploying the screen, if you will, to prevent excessive wind or rain or even during a real sunny area. So we're seeing the flexibility of the screens and shutters to be a little bit different than putting up, a solid barrier such as a window or door.
And how about the benefits of impact windows to a home?
Yeah, so that's a really big one there is when people talk about windows and doors, what's the biggest aspect of that? The biggest benefit really from impact windows, noise reduction. You'll notice that when you go from your, original window to putting impact, you're going to seal the home up much tighter. So that noise reduction you're going to see. The other thing is 24-hour protection from intruders. Very, very difficult to break that security glass. The other thing too is no shutters or additional protection is needed. If you leave your home and you're not in town, you travel, people with kids, children, whatever it may be, or pets, you don't have to worry about having to deploy a shutter or put another extra protection. The window's there. They also help on the energy savings and consumption by reducing the electric bill because of the energy efficiency of it. And then also usually if you do your whole home, you're going to get some type of insurance benefit from that. So that's just some of the benefits of that again. And then also you're giving your home an uplift, right? You increase the value of your home by adding new windows to it. So those are some of the benefits.
How about what is the best hurricane protection, would you say, for a person's home?
I get asked that question a lot, and it depends on how you live in the home and are you there year round. So you may be seasonal, do you need extra security or do you need to reduce your energy bill? So there's a lot of different things that I ask the customer. What's the age of your current windows? Are they more than 20 or 25 years? Then you're going to need window replacement sooner than later. The other thing, Steve, we don't ask a lot of that I make sure is your physical ability to install, deploy, or protect the home. What is it that you need? What's your lifestyle? And who will secure the home if you're not there, right? So those are the different things that we try to ask the customer. And then some of the openings make sense to be a certain way versus some options. So one thing about us, we do have the options to offer you different hurricane protection. And we try to give you the best scenarios for each application and each opening.
If you're watching us on TV right now, we are scrolling the phone number for storm doors and windows. But if you're listening on radio, let me give you, this is for Storm Smart, let me give you the phone number. It's 239-938-1000, 239-938-1000. We've got about 5 minutes left, Frank. Why should someone hire your company?
I tell you, that's a great point that people bring up a lot of times. But I'll tell you, what? It's our people. It really is. Sometimes it matters what we do. You know, we pride ourselves on giving back to the community. Let me tell you, when Hurricane Ian came here, we gave back to the community as much as we can. We've been around for 26 years. There's a lot of other companies that offer hurricane protection, but we really try to embed ourselves in the communities that we service. We continue to grow into the areas. And I'll tell you, we've got a great group of people. We have roughly 360 employees here. We continue to grow and support the communities at hand. But it's basically, we've got a great culture here that we've been building. We thrive on it. We take care of our community. We want to give back. We want to help. Basically, we're building legacy opportunities here. We continue to grow. And we're here. We're one of the best and the biggest, but we want to make sure that we always remember where we came from and what we offer. So, you know, people go with Storm Smart, they've got a partner for life. You go with Storm Smart, you've got a partner that's going to help protect your home. And the most important thing you do is protect your family and the contents of your home. That's what we do.
You know, it is so important because, I mean, it's a big expense, but boy, you just feel like your family's protected now, and knowing you had options and that you took care of those options. What about color choices, Frank?
Yeah, there's a lot of things with that when you're considering that, but there are different color choices about that. So one thing about the screens, you've got not only frame color choices, but you've got basically the screen color choices. And sometimes the HOA dictates that, or they'll give you some parameters that you can stay in. Windows and doors, we've got the bronze and white for windows. And we also have black in the framing, which is really nice. We have a lot of different color selections in the glass color, even in the tint. But a lot of different options there, which we can really help color scheme and help make sure it matches and work with the HOA and get in the permitting process. But a lot of opportunities there. So it blends in with the home and it's an accent to the home, not a detriment.
The name of the company is Storm Smart. They're with us every month. Our show covers all of Florida. So, if you're in a small remote area, don't be afraid to call. And, it's a pleasure, Frank, having someone that we know we can trust on our show and that can bring good quality work, customer service. And Frank will be back with us again next month on the Ask the Expert Show. Frank, thank you so much. Their phone number is 239-938-1000. That's 239-938-1000. Frank, give everybody your website.
Yeah, absolutely. So www.stormsmart.com, www.stormsmart.com. And if you mention Get Smart today, I'll work on giving a special discount for this program for you. So mention beautiful. Get Smart.
Frank, thank you so much, and we'll see you again next month.
All right. Thank you.
That brings us to an end of another Ask the Experts here in the Tampa area. We'll be back with you again next week with more Ask the Experts. Have a wonderful week. God bless everybody.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.